Talking about heat in my womb. Welcome to the Distract Cast.
Just come at me with an unadulterated Jersey accent.
Today we're talking about...
Your silence means everything.
Today we're talking about the Sony conference. Sony.
Sony.
Which opened up with a musical performance.
Yeah, by was there a woman in there? I was going to say some gentlemen.
It was. I think there was two women.
Okay, 2 women and 3 men.
Yeah.
But some people playing sitars, that sort of type of music.
Yeah, playing some. I guess you'd call it Indian.
Yeah, we noticed something music. Interesting about how they were laid out. Should we touch on that?
Yeah, I think...
It was interestingly the people who were darker were on the outer edges of the thing, and then as you moved in, you get to the guy who I thought was white at first.
Yeah, they went for a very beautiful symmetry there in terms of skin tone.
I mean, for what it's worth, representation-wise, the darker people were represented more. But it was awesome performance.
Yeah, with a beautiful waterfall behind them, and
I couldn't tell if it was digital or not, or sand.
It was an actual waterfall.
Oh, cool.
Apparently. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
With light projected on it, probably.
Yeah.
But that set the tone and opened up for Uncharted: Lost Legacy.
Mm.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to hear anything because the Twitch. Yeah. It was a Twitch feed.
Yeah,
right?
The Twitch feed just dropped all audio.
No, it was super low. We could hear the music.
Yeah, it sounded like we were getting audio from not the direct feed, but it sounded like we were getting audio from some guy's phone in the audience.
Yeah.
Then we switched to the YouTube stream, and we had audio, but then it stopped playing.
Yeah,
then you figured out that they got audio back in the Twitch stream, so we went back to it, and that worked out.
That's what happens when you attend E3 live like we did. Sometimes your hearing goes out.
Yeah.
What did you think about it? That was your first time seeing Uncharted Lost Legacy, right?
Yes. I thought it was cool that it was about Chloe.
Yeah.
I mean, for people listening to this to be like, you didn't fucking know? Yeah, no, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
It's cool seeing Chloe. She's cool.
Chloe Fraser, who is half Indian, half Australian.
Is she?
Yeah. At least now she is. I don't know if that was always the plan, but
I could see it definitely. Yeah. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if she was
because of the accent.
Yeah, she could have been very tan. I don't know.
Yeah, she could hit up the tanning beds a lot.
I don't know.
But yeah, I guess the Lost Legacy title goes in line with her story. She's going back to India to not just find an artifact, but also to learn more about her heritage a little bit.
Can't wait to talk about this with my Indian friends. It sounds like a fucking guy with an Indian fetish. For some of the whiter people out there, we mean from India. We don't mean Native American.
Yeah.
I know that some people are a little confused.
Yeah, when I say India, I'm talking about the South Asian continent, not what your parents like to call them.
Yeah, not the Indians.
We have to cut all this out. Cut all
this has already become our most political.
The most
podcast.
Spicy one we've ever made.
Spicy.
Spicy. Oh my god, I can't believe I just. I was trying to make a Sean Spicer joke, and fuck, we gotta cut everything.
No, it's fine. You're Pakistani.
I didn't say that at the beginning.
It says people stop listening and they can't hear my explanation.
They're so offended they clicked out already. Fuck. See what you did, Sony. But no, it's a cool concept. It seems to be a meaty piece of DLC. It's getting a physical release.
Okay.
It's
nice.
$40.
Well, when DLC gets a physical release and is no longer a thing you have to download, I like to call it just an expansion pack at that point.
Yeah. It's $40, and if you pre-order anywhere, you get the Jak and Daxter trilogy remaster.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's a pretty good value, and I don't know how long it's going to be, but I'm super psyched to check it out.
Is it after this that, was it Sean Layden?
Did he come out? Or, I thought they showed the new Horizon DLC.
Did they?
with like the volcano and the storm and shit.
Maybe.
Yeah, our feed was getting screwed all over. I think when we came back, we were in the middle of a Days Gone demo.
Yeah, we did. Okay, that explains that. We did miss a little chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they showed off the Horizon stuff.
Horizon and then Days Gone. And this goes back to what you were saying about like, oh, Sony, they get all the different genres covered. Mm-hmm. Days Gone is a weird one where it's like, isn't Last of Us doing this? Like, that's the one with the huge hordes. You can sort of manipulate the hordes.
Okay, yeah, and the guy's wearing the, like
biker gear.
Yeah, the biker gear.
Yeah.
Then last year we were watching that and we were just like, how are they doing all that? But yeah, it's probably good, but I don't know what to think of it. Like, it doesn't overwhelmingly have an appeal to me. Like,
yeah,
the Last of Us thing, the comparison you said, like, it feels like that's a direction you could bring the Last of Us series or something.
Yeah, like it's set in the same universe.
Yeah, even if like set in the same universe, if it dropped, if you said Last of Us was just going to be their zombie franchise,
yeah, and you tell stories within that.
Yeah, and like Final Fantasy, have different cast of characters, maybe sometimes overlap.
Yeah,
that would work better for me. Like, but otherwise, like, you're trying to introduce me to another series that's trying to do some of the same things, maybe different. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's impressive. I can't take anything away from it. It's probably a good game. I just it's not going to force me to get a PS4.
I'm sort of rooting for it just because of the studio behind Sony Bend. They made Siphon Filter back for the PS1.
That's a game that I used to hear about all the time as a kid, and I'd read about it in the magazines. I don't remember what it was about. It's a nice name. I like the name.
It was like
partly because I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
But like that in itself intrigues me.
Yeah, like it was like Splinter Cell before Splinter Cell a little more action oriented.
Okay. But I did associate it with that, so I'm glad that I...
Yeah. But, like, the thing... So, like, the story behind the developers, like, they made these two, pretty successful console games, but they had been relegated to, like, PSP and PS Vita for years. And so, like, Days Gone was something where, like, they went to Sony and said, like, we want to try again with the home console stuff.
What did they do on the handhelds?
I'm trying to remember. It was a lot of like, that franchise's PSP version, like SOCOM on PSP, or like, I think.
Yeah, it's like the easiest way to get like either a certain type of developer buried or just a franchise buried.
Yeah.
Not that there aren't games that do super successful on handhelds. But usually you have to be a Nintendo handheld to do that. But there's inherently, when it comes to these sort of shows, you're less likely to see handhelds get a big presentation because they inherently can't be as epic of a presentation.
Yeah, some people were like, where was the Vita 2?
Yeah.
The Switch is out, they're not gonna come out with their own handheld?
Yeah, it's like a weird thing where you don't even have to necessarily be a person that's like, well, I don't play handhelds.
Yeah.
Like, sure, if you're that type of person, you're not gonna know about the handheld stuff. Just in general, handhelds do not get the sort of show that home consoles get. So if you're a person who is stuck making games for handhelds, especially if it's just the handheld versions of series, like, then you're
burying yourself.
Nobody's gonna see your stuff. Like, unless you're, I don't want to go with Nintendo stuff.
No, like I think it's fair to go with the Nintendo one. Like, I think there's definitely developers that are making 3DS games and people are going like, I see the talent here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let them try a home console thing, like I know Fire Emblem start off on home console, but I'm excited to see. Well, it's the same shit with Pokemon. We're gonna talk about this in the Nintendo thing.
Yeah, that's one.
But that's why people are psyched for fucking Pokemon stuff.
Yeah.
What can Game Freak do on a home console when they're not making there's just a stadium game? I don't know.
And I'm gonna make sure to keep any of my usual rants about.
Yeah.
But
But that's what I see Days Gone as. Like, these guys trying to prove themselves. And maybe they took a safe choice by sticking to a genre that they know people like and that people are familiar with. But
and then we got Captain Charisma coming out, right? Is that when we got Captain Charisma coming out?
Yeah.
Now I shit on him sarcastically.
Yeah.
I sort of like his sort of, just
like
not quite charismatic sort of thing going on. He just like last year, he came out, talked a little bit, and then we're done. Like with all talking.
And he said that's what he was gonna do, and like it apparently stems from like
his not wanting to talk.
No, like he straight up said like he had an anecdote about like being at a nightclub and he came out and like someone recognized him as like the fucking PlayStation guy, and he's like, this is odd, like it's a weird fame, like it's fine when I'm at a PlayStation event, but I'm here, in my personal social life.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is fucking weird. And he's like, maybe I don't have to be up on stage that much.
Yeah, especially because if you ask him to talk about games and introduce Mortal Kombat X, like he did, like, that's not where he's good.
Yeah.
When he's talking as a businessman, like, he's clearly more in his element, and he sounds better. He's good at that. Yeah. And then he just pushes you to the, the game trailers, and then there. With maybe live music, which is at least something to give. Yeah,
and they did have more like they had the zombie Cirque the Zombie thing.
Yeah, which at least gave them a reason to actually go to the wide shot while you're looking at direct feed stuff.
Yeah.
That was a thing we hated for so long.
Yeah, it adds a little flavor, and like I know those people in the crowd appreciate the fuck out of it.
Uh-huh. Oh, and then sometimes just the lighting cues, they'll like...
It'll look like the ocean, or like during the Horizon one, it was snowing in there.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool. It's fucking cool shit,
That's really, like, good shit. And also, that's one of that they know that gets the crowd into things, and then when you as the viewer are watching it, you hear them, like, go crazy for something.
Yeah.
And that, even if you weren't so crazy about something, all of a sudden you make it... you feel like you were crazy about it, like in a weird way. They know theatrics and they know how to do it right.
But talking about theatrics,
they did it much better than 3 years ago when it was you, Dan, my brother, and I around my computer, and we're watching as the Sony conference went on for like 2 hours.
Oh yeah, that was the first Sean Layden one. I think.
That was the first Sean Layden one, and that was the one where they talked about his powers and shit.
Yes.
And it just went on forever. And I'm sweating balls, and it's not making anything better. And
but then they made this new show we saw this year, and people were going like, that was a weird Sony show. It's only 40 minutes long. It's just trailers.
Yeah.
Why am I even watching this?
Yeah, like, it showed us, just trailers, and I appreciated that. But they also did, unlike the Bethesda thing, they actually gave it a purpose for happening in a fucking,
beautiful theater.
Yeah. Well, what was the first thing that got... It was PSVR stuff at first, right?
Yeah, there was like a whole montage of that.
Yeah, of stuff that I'm not sure if it's VR exclusive or if it's just stuff with VR features. Like, I don't know if it was supposed to be a tag,
I was just glad that, like...
They didn't drop it?
Yeah, they didn't pull a Sony move and go like, million PSVR headsets.
You just said a Sony move.
Yeah. Yeah, so... I was just glad to see,
like, fishing game for
my fucking god! What was it called? Monster Deep?
Yeah.
Monster of the Deep. Yeah, you don't know, so maybe someone at home. I'm gonna let you talk for the next 5 minutes. I'm gonna listen to you. I promise. What the fuck is Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah.
They call it FF15 Universe now. Like, you saw it in the corner of the trailer.
I was afraid of this shit once we saw... I forgot that event where they had, like, 17 things about Final Fantasy, or Square Enix, or whatever.
15.
15.
And then 16 surprise.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
Which should have been Final Fantasy 16, but it wasn't. But when they did that whole thing, and they were like, here's a movie, and I'm like... Oh, you mean for the game that didn't come out?
I've never seen a company steamroll us into liking something so hard before. Like,
I saw it afterwards with the Switch. But
like,
no, but seriously, like, you're right.
It's fucking insane. Like, here's the movie. Here's Florence and the Machine. Here's DLC. And then Here, remember they never released that Prompto VR shit from
yeah.
last year because it was garbage.
Yeah.
And they're like, well,
People in general thought it looked like shit.
yeah, they're like, oh, okay, well, you don't like shooting guns? How about fishing?
Now, the only thing I can think of there is that for a long time as a kid, before I ever played a Zelda game, people talked about like a fishing minigame in Ocarina or something that they loved. And like after that, other RPGs started having that. It's the only thing I could think of that would inspire that. Other than that, how
Or,
old is
Tabata went to an old Sega arcade and played
bass fishing? I was just thinking that. I'm like, how well does that sell?
Yeah.
Not too much, because I'm not sure if it still is a thing. I
think it's still at Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay, like...
Is your computer exploding?
My computer does a thing where it cools things very minimally for a while. Then when it gets too hot, it like...
Oh, okay.
And then it like waits a while till it gets hot again.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, like it's like there's someone sitting at Square, and he's just going like, "You're not."
Would be like Sega.
He's just like picking up the phone every time someone walks by and goes like, "You want more Final Fantasy 15? Hey boss, you're not gonna believe this. The phone is ringing off the hook. They want more Final Fantasy 15. They can't get enough of this fucking thing." Yeah, and like they're like, "There's a crazy person in that room.
Yeah.
He's shitting all over himself and the walls." But we gotta listen to him because he's our boss.
Yeah, like, but yeah, Steam rolled into liking it, especially the fact that
He's in Dissidia. Noctis is in Dissidia.
In Dissidia NT.
NT. Next, which it stands for next.
Nextale.
No, the T
New
is
Tale.
for multiple words. It could be next title, next tale.
So they're just making it up on the spot.
Yeah.
It's like CM Punk. Cookie Monster Punk, that's my favorite one. Even the fact that it had like a 10-year development cycle, like it was like you're finally getting another Final Fantasy. Now here's the sad thing: there are people who are weirdly casual Final Fantasy fans. They're the ones that are like, FF7 was the best thing to ever come out, and I never beat it. And the people who are like, I loved Final Fantasy X, or no, I loved Final Fantasy X, so to call it, something like that. There's like these ones who like come every few games or something.
Yeah, it's generational.
Yeah, like there's one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with the exception of the PS3, because you just had Final Fantasy 13 the whole generation. But just the general like, oh, Final Fantasy is back thing.
Yeah.
No, as
Final Fantasy 15, Kevin's back. John.
Yeah. as a huge fan of Final Fantasy 15 and one who like constantly has this dilemma where I'm like,
Did you just say as a huge fan of Final Fantasy 15?
Did I do that?
Yeah,
Shit. Sorry, Final
I
Fantasy.
knew it, you fucking son of a bitch. I know you love Noctis.
I've not played it.
I know you love
I watched
Prompto.
the first hour on YouTube, and I had complaints about it already. But as a huge Final Fantasy fan...
You fucking liar.
As a huge Final Fantasy fan, the games are something I credit to one of the reasons why I want to make films and whatnot, the cinematic nature. I think Final Fantasy VII is the reason I'm a leftist. But there's a lot that I owe to the series.
FF7 is why I'm left-handed.
Why you're left-handed?
Because of Tifa.
Oh. You sort of crippled the right.
Jesus Christ.
But no, it's a series that I really admire a lot, and there's a lot of the time when people are talking about Final Fantasy, I always sort of forget how much I love them. I pay attention whenever a Final Fantasy thing comes out, even if I don't buy it. And I think there's too much Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
It's not that it came back. It's that it needs to become the Porsche of video games again for me, like the of RPGs, because that used to be what it was. Or Cadillac, pick your whatever. Like
now it's just a bad rash that doesn't go away.
Yeah, like you used to get like maybe some like a Chocobo dungeon or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah,
they're clearly offshoots. You don't get. Oh my god, Orbeus? What the fuck was that one
for the phone?
For iOS and
Android? The phone shit.
Yeah, and they were like, look, we're trying to make it look like an old Final Fantasy, and I was like, you didn't make him look like that. Like, you made him look like a stripper. That's not how characters used to look at all. They were maybe all like skinny and whatnot, but like it's not a throwback to anybody. It never looked like that. That looks like a phone ripoff of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
You know? Final Fantasy 15 isn't solving anything in that franchise.
Yeah.
It just adds to confusion.
Yeah, no, it was supposed to be like the return to the roots, and it's like the roots of what?
And people gave it credit for that. They said it was, and I don't see it. I see something that checks all the boxes.
No, but come on, like you can play the music from FF7 in the car, and there's chocobos.
That
you're gonna kill me.
That's one of those things where like I'm just gonna mention that quickly because it's not a rant or anything. But when your franchise has to rely on nostalgia to that degree. Spoiler alert for the first hour of the game. Also spoiler alert for a game from 1997. If you're using the song that plays during the death of one of the major character in a previous game that everybody loved, and you're using it for the death of Noctis' father, you have not progressed at all. I remember a time when Square Enix said something along the lines of like, we're not going to do an FF7 remake till we can get past it.
Yeah.
You know?
And now they're scrambling back towards it.
Yeah, they're clearly not past it. I hope they don't trick people into thinking like, oh, you're past Final Fantasy 7, like because we're going to make something that's not... I'm going too far into this, but...
Yeah, I should have never opened the Pandora's box of FF.
No, but great question. What the fuck is Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah. Because
bass fishing, I don't care if it has the name, don't put it in the E3 conference. But Make Square do their own.
Yeah, I missed the Square one. They had a good one where they announced like Nier Automata.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like during the Year of Dreams. But...
Yeah, it wasn't an amazing press conference, but I liked that it was a thing. You know? You could show your bass fishing there.
Yeah, but you made me realize the real question is what the fuck is Final Fantasy?
Now, yeah.
It not just FF15, yeah. The God of War trailer. Extended look.
Yeah. And I was like, this is the first time I was really interested in a God of War.
You said that exact same thing when you saw it last year.
Well, yeah, so it sticks. It's in game.
Yeah.
You know? And
which is cool to hear. That's, because I hear this criticism of like, that's not my God of War. They just fucking copied and pasted him into another game. They should have just made it someone else. And
yeah, that's a weird thing. It's like people are like, well, now I'm turned off. It's God of War.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so you just, what do you want to pull the kid's head off? What, like...
I straight up, I read a dude who called the kid a pussy because he was talking about his emotions to his own father. He was just like, Kratos' son seems like a pussy. It's like, he's a 7-year-old.
Well, I'm gonna call the cops on that guy because that guy hits his kids.
No, it was actually that guy who has that YouTube where he abuses his children for money.
Let's see, there you go.
No, but like there is this disconnect where.
By the way, that wasn't just like that's like a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying.
There's a YouTuber that abuses his children
he got his
for
kids
money.
taken away.
Most of them. He just keeps making new ones.
Yeah.
And abusing them. That's not funny at all. Why am I fucking laughing?
I don't know.
Because I am the God of War.
Oh, are you? Dad of War?
The bod of war.
Well, you got the beard.
I got the bod of war.
You got the Kratos beard right now.
Yeah, no, like there's this disconnect between like the old school fans that were like, I like when I press buttons and he would touch women and blood would come out.
I want to play a sex scene.
And then I can't wait to see how disappointed they are when they realize this one doesn't have that.
Mm-hmm. In this one,
he breastfeeds his child.
In public.
In public, and without a blanket like you're supposed to.
I was going to say that you have to stop your kid from jerking off, but he's 7. It's not going to happen. And I was going to make a joke that he was going to that he was going to bring his kid to a prostitute, which is a thing that I've heard in movies like so often. I'm like, why would anybody do that? That's such a weird thing. Nothing against sex workers, but like, don't try to get your kid laid. That's weird.
Wow, we went off the reserve a little bit.
At least he didn't do it for as long as I did with Final Fantasy.
I will. No, like I hear these criticisms and the trending tweets on the hot takes on social media.
I mean, Dad of War is cute for a joke, but when you're like angry because of that.
Yeah, when you're getting Kratos angry about Kratos moving past himself, like which is the most fascinating
growing
part.
as a character, doing something different.
It's called character growth. It's called having a character that automatically has baggage. Like that's the most fascinating thing to me. Like, if you paid attention during the last games, when this game starts, you don't need to fill in the backstory. You don't need the CGI movie from Square Enix's studio to...
They're doing... Okay, it's going to sound like an insult right off the bat, but it's not. They're doing the Batman v Superman thing as far as, like, they're looking at, okay, what did Superman do in the last film? That's going to be the plot of this film. Yeah. You know? They're doing that. Yeah. And because people criticized the first film for that, yeah, we got Batman v Superman, but because you criticized that, we got Wonder Woman, which was good. Yeah. So this is why we critique things. Yeah. You know, you add depth to characters, and things overall seem to, you know, get better.
Yeah. Like, for some people, hate boners are purely a fetish thing. I understand that. But for some other people, there's something called like they're called like professional critics. They get paid to like critique things. What they're trying to do is actually like make stuff better. Yeah. And sometimes people who create listen to those ones, and it's called constructive criticism.
Yeah, and then you praise the next game, and you don't know why you like it better than the last one. It's likely because people took criticisms to heart and fixed them, and it's not because you just go like, "Oh, I fucking like that so much." Like, then what you get is people who, you know, they want to improve their game, but they're too connected to the process, and they find it hard to critique their own work well. Yeah. And then they can't progress as a franchise. You know, you get the same thing over again, and then you stop playing them, and then you say it's because like of some stupid shit. Like,
like one specific thing. Like, I didn't like. There was a cutscene where Kratos is using the Blades of Chaos, but he wasn't supposed to use them because he when I was playing, I was using the sword. We sound like a bunch of smartasses right now.
No, that's. But the fact that we have a podcast makes it sound like that.
These guys are creating stuff. Fuck them.
Yeah. Why do they think I care about their opinion? I'm 36 minutes in.
But okay, let's talk about what we actually saw, though.
Yes.
I think it was very action oriented. I think to appease a lot of those guys who thought like, is it going to be a lot of walking simulation stuff? It seems like it was hitting all the notes. Like, it even had a little bit of humor with that little Norse guy who was like, "Hey, you know, good swinging." And then, like, so like there's. It looks like a franchise that's matured, but in the right ways, not in like a, you know, I found a dumpster between Hot Topic maturity way.
Yeah, I like that it feels somehow more like a modern Sony game. Yeah. Because like I feel like the God of War series felt like I don't know if it's right to say a holdover from the PS2 era. Yeah. Where like the way that games were made were different. Yeah. Now it feels it can enter that art film sort of thing, but it goes the route. It stays true to its.
Yeah,
it stays true to its roots as well.
Yeah, like that was the biggest thing, like losing the fixed camera perspective. Yeah, and going for a close over the shoulder. People were like, well, that's
one of the things I forgot that the games had before. Because sometimes they do like a camera, but it's not controlled.
Yeah, yeah. It's sometimes you're in a fucking wide shot and you're just this little thing in the middle, and so like. That was some of people's biggest worries. Like, you have this very close third-person controllable camera. What's combat going to be like? And it did seem a little slower and a little bit more methodical, but it still seemed just as brutal, just as...
You're probably getting... There's probably instances where it could feel more brutal just because you're spending time on it.
Yeah, you know? you're looking them in the eye, you know? Like,
there's actually a film thing that I remember... I didn't hear Akira Kurosawa saying it, but he said it, and then somebody who's still alive repeated it. That when you do action, you know, you try to do it as quick as possible because it feels longer and stuff like that. Yeah. But when you actually do long-term sort of action stuff, you have to like give it like a purpose and shit. Yeah. Like, this is what it feels like. They're trying to put purpose behind everything. Yeah. And it's not just like
Like
some guy that honestly you probably shouldn't be on the side of.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah. Like.
I mean, I know he has a backstory where you're supposed to like relate to him and stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, outwardly
Outwardly,
he's a
he looked
guy
like
that just murders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outwardly, he just seemed like a crazy rageaholic monster.
Yeah.
And the
Like-
cool thing about this game is it's totally addressing that.
Yeah.
Through the lens of his child.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I don't have any kids. I'm not legally allowed to, but
Well, ever since that YouTube channel you had.
I had.
Yeah.
The FBI shut it down.
Yep. It was against YouTube's terms and conditions, but you were getting under it by, you know, slowing the audio down. Like, oh, God. This isn't funny. It's terrible.
We're at stupid o'clock, so forgive us.
Yeah, stupid o'clock, by the way.
Yeah.
It means that we're in the fucking dead of night.
Yeah.
Like, we should be asleep, but we're not. At our second wind, and it's not good for us.
Yeah. What do you think about that Detroit game?
Okay.
David Cage's new game.
Still don't want to play it.
I liked I liked the last two trailers with the other protagonists.
What I want is a dedicated button.
Yeah.
For
Sean.
Can yell Sean.
That has to be like a trophy, like a hidden trophy.
Oh, I would love
the Sean
that.
trophy.
I would love that. But no, okay, so I do kind of want to play.
Or an android that like gets a virus and it just keeps
Sean!
yelling Sean.
It's the same exact clip.
Yeah.
But the thing is, so I kind of want to play his games.
Me
because
too.
There's
yeah.
nothing
like
that I've played
them.
like that.
Yeah.
So I do want to try them. But at the same time, everything that I've enjoyed in the past tells me that that's going to get on my nerves.
Yeah.
That sort of game, and inherently, it just feels like a thing that I'm gonna want to watch.
Yeah, just make it a movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I do want to try those sorts of games out. They're not going to be something that's going to sell me on a console. They're not going to be. It is weird, by the way, that we're talking about. At least me, I've been bringing up like being sold on a console. Probably because the Xbox One X brought the discussion up, sort of.
Yeah.
But like we're 4 years into the.
Yeah, you gotta pick one, you clown.
Yeah, I picked the Wii U and then they dropped it early.
Now you have to pick another one.
They dropped it early because they need to release a system that plays games sometimes better, but usually just as well as the current system. Anyway, I'm bitter.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Each one gets more interesting. Like Heavy Rain was like okay, and then.
But the gameplay doesn't seem engaging. It's always just story stuff.
Yeah, and then like the Ellen Page one, I was like, okay, this one might get me. And then this new one, that detective one, the detective trailer from last year was rad. Where the one android had the girl on the edge of the building, and the detective had to talk him down or shoot him or
I feel like there's somebody who from some developer from yesteryear that can be brought in to help with that, especially with the detective sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because there seems to be something inherently, the detective things I think work well in a point and click sort of thing.
Yeah.
So old PC games like Sierra sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like they did that well.
Yeah.
Is there something that those developers know about that they could come in and be like, hey, whatever your name is, who's making this game, why don't you try this out? And it'll be some sort of gameplay element that, you know, gives some agency to the.
Yeah, like for me, it'd be really rad if Telltale's games fucking look like those games.
Yeah.
Like use that tech instead of looking like
ass.
like washed out ass.
Yeah, like.
I wouldn't mind
that. Okay, so there you go. Like Telltale could help them out a lot when it comes to actually incorporating gameplay into your movie. You know, like because that's what it is. Because that's the other thing.
Well, actually,
the little snippets I get, it doesn't feel like like it's a game being played. It's do this in this order. It's like really slow DDR.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's like why is this a QTE?
Yeah.
Like he's walking down the stairs. Why do I have to press XO 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 on every fucking stair to get?
Like the fact that this detective is a heavy-set old man,
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the challenge for him getting around a dumpster, and that's in the case of Heavy Rain. Yeah, like I'm like I shouldn't have to like. That was one of those games where they were like, oh, we'll incorporate the move, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, there's a bunch of ways you can do that,
garbage.
and instead they just made the game harder by being like fucking harder to whatever. But yeah, that's. Well, my feeling about those previous games translates over to my feelings of Detroit.
Yeah.
Where it.
But there is another Sony game that sort of Until Dawn, that horror one with the teenage kids. That was a huge hit.
Why the fuck? I'm so bad because these names do sound similar to me.
Yeah. So like they made Until Dawn, I think a year ago, and it was a huge hit. It was one of those games where one person would control it, and then other people would say, like, you know, hide under the bed or hide in the closet, or...
Okay.
And so it became something where multiple players can engage with it.
I've probably seen it. I just...
And then for the sequel... Well, not for the sequel. They have a new game coming out called Hidden Agenda.
Okay.
Where you're playing as a detective, but the controls are your phone. 4 people use their phones.
There's a game like that, like a sort of...
party game?
Sort of drawing game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that does that.
Well, this is for like a detective mystery game. And the thing is like, so when the choices come up of like hide under the bed or open the door, the 4 people have to vote on what to do.
Okay. I like that.
And there's like, and the hidden agenda part is, at one point, one of the players will be randomly chosen and then given a hidden agenda. Like it would be like get the witness to it would be something like get the witness to lie. So then suddenly you have a hidden objective that the rest of the other players don't have, and you have to like surreptitiously do it without them figuring it out.
That's helpful to a video I'm making. that concept.
Yeah.
I love
that shit
that.
was announced pre-conference. Yeah. Like, why wasn't this at the fucking conference?
No, but I love the concept of that because that does 2 things. First of all, it's using something that...
It's a way more interesting...
I'm trying to prevent myself from like going into a thing, but the concept of like a private screen in gaming, like what that does, it allows you to bring certain aspects of tabletop gaming into... Because that's what I think of with this. It feels like a tabletop game. But because you're not limited by cards and shit like this, you can do so much more with it. Like...
To me, it actually feels like what an interactive movie should be.
Yeah.
Instead of going to a theater.
I could totally imagine it being used for like one of those like horror games where it's like, but based on a movie where it's
like a David Finch thriller type.
I don't know, like 4 teenagers in the woods, and then like they have to but in this case they don't split up. They instead are a party trying to survive.
Well, that was what Until Dawn was.
Okay.
So for this one, they're going for like... Have you ever seen Seven?
Okay, so now I kind of want to play that now. But
yeah, even well, that one was cool because it had a butterfly effect.
Oh.
And it would even show you your butterfly effect, so you could root it back and try to fix it.
That's cool.
And it
like in Butterfly Effect, sort of.
Yeah, I don't like advocating, watching games because that's shitty for the developers.
Yeah.
But this is one of those games that like I think you'd enjoy
it's
just watching.
One of those things where play it so you have your own personal playthrough and then watch the other.
Yeah. But yeah, that wasn't even at the fucking conference. That was before the conference. But what was at the conference was they showed that Monster Hunter World. What'd you think about that?
I mean, people like their Monster Hunter. I feel like it's one of those games that when I've played Monster Hunter in the past, I probably would have more fun if I was playing it with people. But that scenario, I don't know people who play Monster Hunter. Like my group of friends doesn't. So it's not something I can get excited about. It's a franchise I want to like, though.
Yeah. Well, this one has a feature where if you're like overwhelmed, you shoot a flare up and it'll send a signal to other online players to come help.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
This one I'm really ambivalent about. Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes.
PS4 remaster. I
Yeah.
heard the rumor.
A fucking huge classic. It still looks weird. It somehow there's certain times when you try to modernize an old game. This isn't an old game like NES old or anything, but like sometimes you
Lose the magic a little bit.
you lose the magic, and then there's also times when like you make it feel more dated. I've noticed this with Final Fantasy 3, which was on the NES, then they made it 3D. So that's a bigger difference. But because like when you play the NES version, it feels complex and everything. Because you somehow manage to
fill in the gaps.
You fill in the gaps, and there's but when you do it in 3D and make it modernized and stuff like that, somehow the underlying gameplay mechanics become bare in comparison. It's weird. It's like things like your expectations for certain aspects of the game are now like mismatched. It's really weird.
Yeah, no.
Like I don't think that's happening with this. It's mainly presentation, I think, is doing that.
Yeah, like the original one, like it's very clear this is happening because of the well, not really. Like the PS3 remaster fixed the performance issues. They got it to like a solid 30 or whatever.
But I think now that they have like somewhat more photorealistic visuals. I want to say photorealistic. It's saying too much, but like I think the animation is now looks weird.
Yeah,
like
because they kept that.
Yeah,
but it's a
which
higher...
is very crucial to the gameplay.
Yeah,
so that's understandable. You need to sort of like approach these things very hesitantly. Like sometimes you might have to like not make the game look completely visually up to par with
sometimes you have to keep the bad stuff, which is very
like maybe in this case they could have kept Wander, right? They could have kept Wander slightly more of like his PS2 look.
Did you see his face?
No,
it's very fucking odd.
It is.
Yeah,
that happens when you like because you used to have to use your imagination.
Yeah,
so,
you have to fill in the gaps.
Like what they could have done is they could have had the scenery take the full brunt of the visuals, like they look great, and Wander could have stayed more
simplified.
Yeah, more simplified. Like you can do some cleaning up, but otherwise, say it's now a visual style.
Yeah, it's hard to do like for me, what I felt was missing, and this could be added much later as a post-processing effect or whatever. Is not coming out this year, right?
I don't think so.
Like for me, the original one had this really like ethereal look to it,
like mist and fog, and
it was very misty. Light would rarely break through into a scene.
It was probably a thing that was actually the result.
It was a limit of the technology because the draw distance.
But that was like a perfect example of where, they made their whole game around that.
Yeah, the art is being dictated by the technology.
So now things are too clear.
Yeah, now the draw distance is, much larger. But the problem now is you need to bring that fog back in because you're losing the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And you got to bring the mist back in.
Now you have a chance to make it feel more layered.
Yeah.
And maybe more like painterly or something.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the things that it does miss, in that, that was a game that nobody ever argued wasn't cinematic.
Yeah.
Right? But part of the cinematic feel is not just, frame rate and all these other things, which is ironic that it did have a lower frame rate, but it means I almost said hyperrealism. That's not right either.
It's just realism.
But it means
skewed more to realism.
But it means using your color palette in a certain way that sort of pulls the emotion out of things. Everything should work with the other, like the But yeah, I got the same feeling you did. I'm not sure if we're alone in that.
No, I think some people are having trouble like putting their finger on what makes it feel so different. Like even the Colossi.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw a close-up of one of the Colossi's eyes, and the people look like the number 9, and I was like, wait, was that even in the original? Because I never noticed that.
Oh,
and I don't think it even...
Is that possibly them trying to number the Colossi?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
That seems... Also, You do have to fight them in an order, right? Or at least a loose order.
Yeah, because the sword only shines towards next one.
Yeah. But like that's so unnecessary.
It was. I don't know if my fucking shitty eyes saw it, but like when I used to look at a Colossus' eyes, I just saw
like
a semblance of like of a living being in there. Like
I don't remember them looking. I don't know if I'm just associating what I know of the ending to it, but it feels sad or innocent. There's some sort of innocence behind there.
It was really a story about becoming a monster by killing what you thought were monsters.
Yeah,
but
and it's not the same studio working on this.
No,
right?
it's Blue Point Games in conjunction with Sony Japan.
Okay.
And Blue Point did the remasters of Team Ico's games, and they're like cream of the crop when it comes to remasters.
Yeah.
They know how to take care of it. And
I like the remaster for the PS3.
Yeah.
But I think what's happening is you're getting people not as I don't want to say that they don't get Shadow of the Colossus, but they certainly don't get Shadow of the Colossus as well as maybe even some of the more hardcore fans, and definitely not as well as the developers who made the game.
Yeah.
So they're probably making certain assumptions.
Yeah, I do wonder if like Fumito is even.
Yeah.
He hasn't said anything publicly about it, and some people are like, "Oh, maybe they'll add all those cut Colossi because there was a bunch cut," and it's like,
don't do that.
Please don't do that.
They were cut.
They were
the people assume that it's just like all like tech limitations. Same with the fog.
Yeah.
And that was, but they used it. But when things are cut, they might be bad.
Yeah,
Like the same reason why like
some things just don't work.
Like when people
director's cuts and shit.
Oh, not just director's cuts. I'm thinking like if a musician dies, and they have like music unreleased.
Yeah.
There's like a whole bunch of people who like want more, but the thing is, they chose not to release those songs for a reason. They're not proud of them, you know? Like, so, I mean, putting those in could ruin things.
Yeah.
But if what's his name, Fumito, you said?
Fumito Ueda.
Yeah, Fumito Ueda, if he...
cut them.
But if he said, like, look, if you want to redo this thing, I suggest you put in some of these things, and I'll tell you, like, I'll supervise whatever. If that were the case, that's different.
Yeah.
That's maybe like a special edition sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it was, something out of his hands at the time.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But yeah, Shadow of the Colossus, I didn't ask for it either.
Yeah.
Like I totally didn't ask
I'm
for
super happy for people who like held off on playing it or never played it.
Yeah.
I think hopefully they get the same satisfaction that people who played the original got.
Yeah. I mean,
did they change the music too?
I don't know.
It felt like it was reorchestrated.
I wasn't getting the same like da 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 da. Like that happens a lot when they reorchestrate stuff. Like sometimes it's not as full, or sometimes it's like if it's a remake, especially on the original, that's your AAA title, right?
Yeah.
So you get like the London Symphony Orchestra, right?
Yeah.
And then like. And then on the remake, it's a smaller budget title, so you reorchestrate stuff. So like you have it, I don't know if you want to add a surround sound element to the music or whatever, but like you get some fucking Bergen Community Orchestra,
with
like,
Hans Zimmer,
which is like 14 people, so you get the grandness in it.
And sometimes it's even
that happened in FF10, the remake.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's the opposite, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, sometimes it's a small group, very dedicated.
And then you get something that sort of loses
and then it's like something that's...
definition of the original music.
Yeah, then there's something recorded in Abbey Studios, and it's like, this, on a technical level, sounds much clearer, much better, but, like, you lost some of that
I have that same
essence.
problem when like, an 8-bit or 16-bit game gets brought to, like, modern technology. Some of what made the original like music sound good was its non-organic sound. So for instance, Metroid, there's some YouTuber who's like redoing the Metroid music from Super Metroid, I think. And I said Metroid too many times, but
Metroid?
he's using the synthesizer, like one of the more popular synthesizers from the 80s to do it. Like I think Tears for Fears like used it or whatever. I'm just putting that there because of the documentary we watched, but it sounds, higher definition, higher fidelity than the original, but it still has the same sound to it.
Yeah, profile.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't want something. Sometimes it's not being held back by the fact that it's not a real violin. Sometimes it works because it's a fake violin.
Yeah.
You have the not quite there sound because it's a different sound altogether.
Yeah.
So I wonder, that's not happening with this, but I do think it's probably using a smaller orchestra that can't get the same grandness in there and whatever.
Yeah. But then again, we just saw a small glimpse of it. We have no idea when it's coming out.
Like if I saw it, in the bargain bin, I'd pick it up, just see what it's like.
Yeah.
And maybe I'd like it. But
I just wonder why they didn't do both of the past games.
Yeah. I feel like Ego gets pushed aside a lot.
Yeah. I know that one has like, that one's dated. That one dated way faster than Shadow. Maybe that's why.
Also, are there I didn't play Last Guardian. Is this probably technically on a level past Last Guardian? Because Last Guardian felt like it still used, maybe not PS3 assets, but like assets that were going to be used, like, compressed on the PS3 or something.
Well, I think it just comes down to the art style. Like you look at the kid from Last Guardian, and he has a pseudo.
He's got
cell shaded.
Yeah, sometimes his skin has no shading.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like I think that's really, that is sort of giving you the Team Eco vibe more than.
But I feel like that. Well, actually,
like it looks like a westernized Shadow. Like that. Yeah. That's just that's not a clear way to say it. But
yeah, but when you say that makes that further makes me think they should have made Wander more stylized and then made everything else realistic.
Yeah, but beyond that, we have to get to the Marvel segment of Sony's conference, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Oh, okay. I was wondering for a second if you were being legitimate or if it was like a thing. Yeah, okay, I remember that. I forgot about that, and then I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I don't know if it was announced already before then.
It was announced at the conference where Last of Us 2 was announced, which you didn't know about, and Uncharted Lost Legacy was announced.
Okay, that's PSX?
Yeah.
Okay. The last PSX?
Yeah.
I did miss that, so okay. I don't feel so stupid. I don't know, it's cool. It's got a story, right? That's what they were showing.
Yeah. And a demo of it was out, apparently. I've downloaded it, I haven't played it yet.
Huh. I'm down.
Yeah.
Marvel vs. Capcom, that shit goes back to my childhood, and it was awesome the whole time.
Yeah. I think I might skip out on this one, though. I haven't been into... for some odd reason, I just like Injustice 2 more. I just think...
Okay.
Warner Brothers is pumping more money into that and trying to make it...
You know what it is? It feels like on the Warner Brothers side, like the MK style of fighting game, they're trying harder to make fighting games different.
Yeah.
It's
got an insane amount of production value, that Injustice.
Like, I find that really cool. It's one of those things that I thought about, because when I grew up, I was a fan of Street Fighter and I was a fan of Mortal Kombat. More so Mortal Kombat because I was a kid. So I was like, oh, it's so fucking cool, right? Growing up, I was like, it lost all of its appeal when it comes to that. Strictly, it has to be a good game too. And I was like, but I don't know, you're just going to make it a Street Fighter thing that's bloody? Like, I was like, you got to do something else with it. Something that embraces its unconventionality. Like, so the fact that every single time they release a new game, they're doing some sort of like new thing that changes up sort of the pacing of the fight or whatever, or at least did one of them have just like one long round, or am I making that up?
I think there was an MK that did that.
Okay.
Or was that MK versus DC? I never played that one.
I played it. I don't think it did have that. I did like it. That was a little
Yeah,
Could
but
a lot to be
yeah, it
desired,
planted the seeds for
Yeah.
Injustice though, and
I haven't got a chance to play because I don't have
yeah,
PS4
because you
or
have
Xbox One.
yeah,
Still.
Jesus.
I was a Wii U guy, and now it just makes it look like I haven't played a game in 5 years. Like,
You only play Skyrim. Fucking
yeah, I only
nerd.
play Skyrim and then I vomit.
Good way to lose weight though.
Gained 40 pounds, so I haven't played in a while.
So the other big Marvel one was their closer, Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
So
weird for me to see something like that because it's being treated like a first party thing.
yeah,
And it technically is,
yeah,
but it's also Spider-Man.
yeah,
You know, it's like Sony, you don't own Spider-Man.
yeah.
Sort
Kind
but
of,
not
sort of,
really, you know?
yeah. No, it's cool to see Marvel, finally realize like, hey, Arkham's sort of eating our lunch right now.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we should start. And it had Arkham vibes. Like, if you ever played an Arkham game,
I
when
played
he
a
was,
demo.
when he was like, when Spider-Man was like on those like rafters, just sort of like Predator style.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's very Arkham.
Yeah,
style.
something that doesn't feel like it's
Spidey.
like no, it doesn't feel like it's pulling anything from Arkham though, because like it feels very Spidey to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean it's crawling.
Oh, okay. Alright.
It just feels like an obvious mechanic for him. Yeah, and I think it really appeals to me because it's not Batman. Because
Because it's P.D. Parker.
well, I mean just in general, I feel like people have ruined Batman, but
Yes.
yeah, it was cool to see Spider-Man. I like his outfit.
Yeah.
I kind of like, I don't know, if it has like the weird like, this is going too far, but like Spider-Man 2099 sort of feel to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it almost feels like semi-futuristic or some shit. I don't know, but the one complaint that I think you and I both had was that like that whole chase sequence felt a little like a really long QTE. We weren't sure how much
Well,
control.
we're not the only ones. Like that.
Okay.
That is a major criticism. They did address it. The director addressed it. He said like, the whole game's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is physics-based swinging. You do
Yeah.
have control. Like
It's one of the problems when it comes to trying to like do these sort of showcasey sort of.
yeah, what
things.
is being controlled by the player? What is being used just to be flashy?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, really hoping that they let you collect comic book covers to unlock cool costumes, like in the
God.
fucking Neversoft game.
Yeah.
But I have a fear it'll be microtransactions, and I will pay them to get the symbiote
Yeah.
suit. I will
Yeah,
pay them
symbiote suit, and then
the
you get
$20.99.
what was some of the stuff they had in that old game? They had
I want the Fantastic Four suit
they
with
had
the
his
paper
wrestler
bag.
outfit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the Neversoft one, they had that's like when I forgot about that.
Yeah.
They had the 2099. They had
Yeah.
like
I
I loved that shit, and I'm not a comic book guy.
Yeah.
But that shit like got at me like, and whatever aspect I like superhero stuff,
like the truth is, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he's a universal.
Yeah.
He's a lot of people's first superhero, and for a lot of people, he ends up being not just their first, but their favorite for the rest of their lives. They
Yeah.
don't move away from him.
He's not brooding.
Yeah,
He's certainly you can make him brood at a time, but he's not stuck there.
yeah. Well, that's the fascinating thing. He's got the classic Parker luck.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible things happen to him, but he moves past them to
Yeah.
try to be a better person instead of letting them define his entire fucking life.
Yeah.
And like you saw little bits of that, like even when he was chasing after the villain, this guy's trying to kill him, this guy's trying to destroy a city, but he's still, he's still worrying if this dude's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And to just give a little context, like that guy, Mr. Lee, I think he's called, from the comics, he's a newer villain from if you're not familiar with him, he's from like the early 2000s or whatever. He's a Chinese immigrant that moves to New York City. And there's a little bit of like a Jekyll and Hyde, like he doesn't know that he's also Mr. Negative,
Okay.
where he creates that negative image of himself. I think he's pulling from like some type of dark force or whatever. But the fascinating thing is, as Mr. Lee, he works at a homeless shelter, like at a soup kitchen with Aunt May. Like he's a good upstanding citizen, but there's I don't know if it happens at night or whatever, but he's also like this brutal crime boss. I think at that point in the game, he's not Mr. Negative yet, but he's turning into him.
Okay.
And so there's a part of Spider-Man's trying to stop the bad guy, but Peter's trying to save
save the good guy.
His Aunt May's boss and friend. And so, people are already bitching about where's Vulture, where's Mysterio, fuck these newer villains, and it's like,
first of all, sneak peek only.
For
all we know, it can go the whole
Sinister Six. Yeah,
like Spidey 2, the game.
Yeah,
that had
like
so many characters.
Electro, Kingpin,
and I loved. What's Mysterio's deal? Very quickly.
He's like a former stuntman that just he creates illusions out of like special effects and shit. Yeah.
So he's the same guy I'm thinking of. He in Spidey 2, he straight up like this open world that you're familiar with. All of a sudden looks like it's like being abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
And you're like swinging from like UFO to like UFO.
This is Spider-Man 2, the game.
Yeah.
Voiced off the movie.
Spider-Man.
Not the Neversoft one, right?
No, this is for the PS2.
Okay.
The one that had the swing mechanics like everyone loved.
Yeah.
Like you had to swing like from UFO to UFO across the water to get to the Statue of Liberty, or like whatever they're calling it. Would be that, yeah. And then you have to swing up to the crown, and you're spinning around and fighting Mysterio on the Statue of and nothing puts you there. Like there's a way to get there, but you get there on your own, and it's one of those things where it turns the open world upside down because it never could change like that. But I understand why people would want that, and it's totally possible it's still in there. It's just we saw not even 15 minutes worth of gameplay of the thing, so there's only so much you can squeeze in there. Like
that was a big thing. Some guy was like 90% of that was QTEs, and a dude from Insomniac was like, are you talking about the 20 seconds that we showed in like a 10-minute demo? Is that the 90%?
Well, you see, 20 seconds feels longer because there's a lot of action. See, it goes back to my point from before, the thing that Kurosawa said.
Did you write that, you son of a bitch?
I didn't. It's somewhere on the behind the scenes of Yojimbo or something.
I mean, did you write that comment where you were like, is this 90% QTE?
Okay, I'm pleading the fifth.
But and then they showed Miles, which is fucking rad, because it means nice. There's might be other Spidey people.
Yeah. Also, I kind of like how they did, I don't remember this from other conferences, ever, but they sort of did a after the credits thing with it.
Marvel style, Stinger style. That was fucking
so
rad.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm sure that was fucking Marvel.
Oh, yeah, they're just do it after the credits.
Yeah.
No, I like that.
But,
Sony, good conference. End the podcast. No, I'm kidding.
I thought it was a good conference. People were very, very upset they weren't the Year of Dreams.
Very upset that it was
no surprises. Yeah.
I mean, I was like, okay, I was expecting more, but in hindsight, I got over it.
Yeah, 2016, 2015 were two banger years back to back. If they sustain that, they'd have to be using some type of witchcraft.
Yeah.
And they came out and said we held stuff back for the rest of the year. There's big shows that are happening. They at Gamescom, sometimes they do a Paris show. TGS does mean something to them. They're not Microsoft.
Oh yeah.
And then there's their big fan event, the PSX.
Yeah.
And 3 major titles you had no idea of.
People forget that, PSX is a thing. That's the equivalent.
And fan expectations for that are higher than E3.
Oh yeah. Well,
because they're the ones who are attending. They're the ones who are going and paying for it.
It's what it is. It's Sony's space world.
Yeah.
So that's what they care most about. E3's big, but they know that E3. I don't know if it's going to change with this public thing.
Yeah.
But E3 has for a long time been overestimated in its importance in the industry.
Yeah.
For most people, they're just oh, how come we get a bunch of video game news at one point in the year,
Yeah.
Don't know.
I used to be that way.
Yeah.
I used to be like, man, this week is really busy.
Yeah, just a bunch of literally 5 huge games today.
And there's more consoles coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just one of those things where I talked about it before. Like time, you don't have to do anything to keep time moving forward.
Yeah.
It just happens on its own. And then one day you're gonna wake up and there's gonna be that game you wanted.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be The Legend of Dragoon, because fuck The Legend of Dragoon.
I would love for that series to be vindicated. You know?
Yeah.
Because when you play it, you're like, it's not all bad. There's something in there, but for the most part, it's bad. Like you'd be throwing away a lot of good stuff if you didn't try to make that work one day. But nobody's gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Like, unless you can get people really excited about a RPG where a bunch of people are dressed like, Iron Man with wings. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, I know you didn't really mean for that to be a talking point, but that'd be interesting. Could you imagine if they announced that?
There's a hardcore group that wants that.
Oh, I know.
Because
I'd
they want
it to have a good soundtrack and not the one it had.
They want a Sony first-party RPG.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I remember when I played that game, I was like, "Who made this?" And I'm looking, I'm like, I can't find the developer.
Yeah.
Because I saw SCEA.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would be a thing that, like, if Sony's ever like in a position where they're like, okay, we need something to, get the hardcore people out, you do that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it has enough to it that, it's an RPG. You don't fly in it, but there's certainly potential to make the characters fly.
Yeah.
You can make that a huge AAA game.
Yeah. The character was almost DLC in PlayStation All-Stars.
Really?
Yeah.
And then they probably realized, let's not put any more effort into this.
Yeah.
I feel like they did that halfway through development, but...
Yeah. But yeah, if, you guys aren't wet already, then... I'm sorry, we can't make you any wetter, okay? Mm-hmm. So, we'll see you next time.